with IGN Live at E3. Right now, I think it's time to increase the crazy factor. Wolfenstein: The New Order shows what the world would be like if the Nazis won World War II. Let's take a look. Greg?
As I live and breathe. Andreas, how are you?
I'm good.
What did the Nazis ever do that they're getting picked on so bad in these Wolfenstein games, I tell you?
They did quite a lot that they shouldn't have.
Wait, I'm being told. What's happening in Wolfenstein New Order? Tell me all about it.
Okay, so Wolfenstein: The New Order is what we call a story-driven, first-person action-adventure.
Okay.
It's taking place in the 1960s in an alternate history setting where the Nazis won World War II. And now they've taken over the world and created a global Nazi empire.
This all sounds fascinating and quite different from the old Wolfenstein. It was just like, we're a first-person shooter. We're going to shoot some Nazis. How did you get this going? I mean, Wolfenstein's such an iconic brand. How did you guys get your feet? You know what? We really want to change this.
Well, so I think that it's always been about an alternate history. In the first Wolfenstein 3D game, you kill Hitler. So that's alternate history already right there.
That's a big deal.
So we kind of took that concept and we lived with it and just jumped into the 1960s. So I think it's a continuation, but it's also a lot to do with who we are as a studio, what we want to do. Machine Games is all about doing a single-player experiences with really immersive, intensive action.
I like the, I always describe myself to people as a story whore. I really love a great single player. Was there any thought in your mind of like, maybe this should be multiplayer? People love multiplayer shooters.
That was a very easy decision for us because, as I just said, we are passionate about creating kick-ass single-player experiences. What we do is story-driven action-adventure. So for us, it was always easy, and it made all the sense in the world to just say that we're going to spend every drop of energy we have on making a kick-ass single-player experience.
So for you, where does that start? Does that start with, we're going to sit down and try to write the story, we're going to sit down and start mapping levels and see what comes to us?
For us, it started out with trying to understand what really is the core of Wolfenstein. So for us, it is the intense, immersive action. It is the David versus Goliath theme. You know, Blazkowicz against the Nazi army, and now BJ against, the global Nazi empire. It is also the general sense of weirdness you get from exaggerating the most bizarre elements of the Nazi party, like the larger-than-life political leaders and the crazy, strange technology, and the human experiments.
So what are we seeing right now?
So this is BJ Blazkowicz going to London, which of course has fallen to the Nazis, and is going to infiltrate a Nazi research facility and steal some new stealth helicopters, which is part of our theme of retro sci-fi.
Okay. I like that. What does the theme of retro sci-fi mean to you?
So this is in the 1960s. So we kind of play with the idea of what technology, the technology of the future would be in the 1960s, and play with those ideas, right? So, but it's also part of the mystery of the game. The thing you unravel in the story is, how did the Nazis acquire this technology? How did they win the war? That's part of the story of the game.
Why don't you just tell me now? How did they win?
You should play the game.
Gosh darn it, I'm going to no matter what. So, you're talking about, retro sci-fi. You're talking about alternate history, London. What do you do to research that kind of stuff? Do you look at photos of London, what it looked like then? Do you go back to like the old World's Fair and see how people projected the future?
So I think it's, in a way, a literary genre on its own, the alternate history idea. And there are books like Philip K. Dick's Man in the High Castle, for example. But we really drew on our own ideas of how we kind of predicted how the world would turn out if the Nazis had won the war. We think it's a very interesting question. What would the world be like if the Allies hadn't made all the sacrifices they did, if they hadn't managed to defeat the Nazis? What would the world turn out to be?
So we're in London. We're going through right now. What has happened? Is it just bombed out from everything that's happened?
So what we just saw happening was an ally to BJ do basically a suicide bombing of the building itself so that BJ could get through all the security and actually get into the building. So all the debris and all the destruction you see here is something an ally to BJ did.
Gotcha. Whoa, who do we have here?
This is one of our Nazi robots. This one is actually destroyed, kind of. It has a lot of rubble on it, so it's immobile. So it's a little bit easy to defeat, but it's still really difficult. So we have a lot of these kind of mech-like war robots that you have to fight together with, normal soldiers and everything. And that's part of our retro sci-fi theme. And usually, this one is damaged, but usually you're gonna have to use some of the retro sci-fi weapons to kind of steal from the Nazis to defeat them as well.
So now, if there's anything a first-person shooter gets knocked for a lot, it's the fact that, it's so linear, it doesn't have this great story, yada, yada, yada. How do you take this story and this alternate history and everything you're generating for it and layer it on top of gameplay that does, stand you behind a gun and have you moving from place to place?
Yeah, so we like to have an unfolding narrative all during the combat scenarios, but we also have what we call story moments, where we focus more on character development and interacting with characters and the setting itself. So we spend a lot of resources on our characters and developing them and portraying them in a very good manner.
Do you ever find it difficult to make audiences and focus groups and people you're working with connect with BJ because they can't see him, or is there some way around that through just having it cutscenes or conversations?
First, we don't care about focus groups. We do the best.
Give me a high five. I like this guy a lot.
We make the best game that we want to play.
Yeah.
But as a studio, we are really all about the action adventure, combining those two things together and unifying them as a whole. That's really what we are. Machine Games is all about that.
Nice. So now BJ's making this assault here. He's made some progress. We're out of the bombed out area. We're seeing some of the environments. What is he after? Where are we going? What's he going to do when he gets in here?
So he's looking for the stealth helicopters that he's going to help the resistance steal.
Gotcha.
But it's a long way to it. It's deep inside the facility, so it's going to be a rough path ahead.
I really want to see a stealth helicopter. Are we going to see a stealth helicopter?
I think that this actually kind of ends before that, but you should come down to the booth and play, and I'll show you.
That's a tease.
Yeah.
That's a tease, like what you're doing. But I'll come now. I'll walk on over there. What kind? We're talking about the retro sci-fi. You mentioned you usually have to take the robots down with some of those kind of weapons. Right now we're seeing dual machine guns, which is awesome. But what other sci-fi weapons can kids expect?
Regarding dual wielding, you can dual wield almost all the weapons in the game.
Can I mix and match?
No, so we don't want the player to play kind of inventory Tetris, so we keep it simple. So we stay with just having the same weapons dual wielded, but you'll see when it gets to the dual wielding shotguns, that's the craziest weapon combination I've seen, so you're going to love that.
All right, you got another high five for that dual wielding shotgun.
So the sci-fi weapons, the sci-fi weapons are a lot about, the 60s ideas of what they would be. So you have a lot of laser weapons, you have the laser rifle, laser miniguns, like that thing. You can have a look at this. This is very insanely powerful.
Looks good. Looks good.
So we try to add a lot of kind of sense of being in the world, the physicality of weapons and being in your body.
Yeah.
And part of that is, I hope he shows it here, that you can duck behind your covers and even the turrets that you man. So you can kind of protect yourself if you get attacked from the sides, etc.
How are you handling health in the final game? Is it regenerative? Is it health packs?
So it's both, because this is what we do. We try to combine the best of old school shooters with kind of modern day design sensibilities.
Sure.
Because we feel that there was some things left behind, design principles left behind that shouldn't have been left behind. So we bring those back and we marry it to like the modern school of design. So the health system is a perfect example of that, because we have the 100 health, 100 shield of old days. So it means that you're gonna have to manage your health. You're gonna make sure that you really do your best in every fight. So every fight matters. But we also add a little bit of regen on top of that, so that say that you end up with just 5% health after intense fights. You're gonna get up to 20. It's gonna regen up to 20, the closest 20.
Yeah.
So that you're gonna have a fighting chance to actually survive the fight and continue fighting.
Andreas, when does Wolfenstein: The New Order come out?
It's holidays this year.
And what platforms?
So PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4.
You're a busy man. You're a busy dude.
Yeah, we have a lot to do.
Well, Andreas, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you now know all about Wolfenstein: The New Order. I think it looks pretty hot. Let us know in the comments what you think. And until then, here's Naomi Kyle.
Thank you, Greggy. Now, there's no easy way to segue from a Nazi-killing shooter to Nintendo games, so I'm not even going to try. Up next is the Wii U exclusive Mario Kart 8.